Okay, today I'm training on our new AI site pilot functionality. Now, if you're not familiar with our importing tool where you can grab pretty much any link on the internet and throw it in there and it'll actually bring that website into our platform, slice it all up, clean up the code, and give you basically a starting point from something that's already existing for you to customize. And if you haven't watched that video on it, I suggest you do. Also, if you haven't liked and subscribed, I suggest you do. I have a lot of AI functionality coming out to follow. And of course, I will give you the latest video updates there. But with that import tool, as cool as it is, and as many people leverage that every single day, there's still some elements that you have to customize to really get the benefits of our website builder. For one, you need to understand our link strategy. Once you understand that, obviously you can customize your links. Two, if you're not familiar with global blocks, those things, it makes your life so much easier. You have to go page by page and update all the pages with your global blocks. Two, when you import a theme, in most cases, well, in all cases, especially if it's a template, it's all the template pages. So you have to customize those pages. You got to add your content. You got to, go in there and personalize it. And then the worst part about it is, a lot of these themes have what are called root variables. These are CSS root variables that basically allow you to quickly change the color scheme and change the site itself. And if you're not familiar with how to install that into our platform and set up themes and all that, you're really missing out on some really cool stuff the platform has. And so what our AI site pilot does is it piggybacks off the import process. So when you come over here and click import on our platform, traditionally, or prior to this release, you would only see domain and relative path and workspace, right? And so what it does is it obviously go out and pulls all those assets, downloads them, put them in a theme folder for you, slice up all that code, set it all up into our system and make it, cleaner code and a great base for you to go in and use our drag and drop builder. And what you see is what you get changes, which we'll go over. Well, now with the AI site pilot, you can supply your logo, you can supply your company overview, your company name, and a very detailed prompt of what you want to do with this theme. And so now what it'll do is not only import all the assets, but it'll build out all the pages, write all the content, customize that site, with your brand colors, pull in all those root variables and make it simple for you to customize that in the future, set up all your global blocks, create all your navigation structure, create all your internal linking, set up your blog feed, set up your blog, set up everything that is necessary for you to have a much better starting place or finishing place. Really, you're putting in the finishing touches with this, opposed to the other path. And with our importer, it's again, compared to others out there, it's one of the better ones out there. This just takes it to a whole nother ball game. So let me walk you through the steps on how to get this set up. Now, depending on your account level, you may not see this option over here, this drop down for settings. Also, depending on your account level, you may not have the option to bring your own key. Now, what's cool about this is you're going to bring your own Claude API key. This will allow you to monetize this in a different way by providing subscriptions or access to a certain amount of websites and those types of things. So there's a lot of different ways on how you can monetize this and really control, the profit that happens from the usage. Now, because of how I built this platform and what it's designed for, this is a bring your own key model. Now, depending on your account level, you have access to this, right? So basically here over next to create new funnel, you'll see this vertical drop down if you have access to this, and you go ahead and click on the settings tab. Now, there's not a whole lot of settings in here right now. It's just your Claude API key. There's a lot of cool things I have coming with this, including other different types of integrations. That way you can limit the different types of models or API integrations for the content and things like that. So real simple, click on that, drop your Claude API key in. Now, the way this is built, if you're not familiar with our user system, this is not available for child users. So for child accounts, those are sub accounts, child accounts, or accounts that conform to your brand, they can't brand themselves, those types of things. They play off of your API key. And the reason behind that is you're able to, again, monetize that and everything else. If you have a client or you're setting up a system for another, customer, and they are wanting to use their own Claude API key, you would set them up as a parent account. So it's only available for parent accounts that obviously have access to this functionality. So right now it's just this one setting. Drop your Claude API key in, go back to funnels. And so the first step is to click on the existing import, right? So if you don't have this functionality, you're not seeing this, but here you have two options. You have either a template or existing site. Existing site is very similar to what it was before, right? So when you import a template, for example, we're going to import this template here, and you can go out and get a lot of free Bootstrap templates. You can go to different, theme engines out there, theme marketplaces, and buy a template and, just follow the instructions that you normally do to import that template. Same process. The only difference is when you have AI enabled, it's going to slice up that site for you automatically. It's going to, bring in those root variables. It's going to get rid of all the junk that you don't need. It's going to clean up your code, and obviously it's going to just make it with global blocks and set blog feeds and wrap your existing forms with our data form wrapper and just all the little technical things that a regular user who doesn't know all these great things behind the scenes, it does it for you. And so it'll do that with existing websites now. So you just select existing website. Now what this will do, you can make, again, it's going to import the way your site is set up today. It's going to redo the navigation, for our format. It's going to do all that for you, put global blocks, but it's not making any changes. It's not building out new pages. It's not doing in that unless you prompt, your existing site to do that. Now you do have to apply a prompt. And so, you could simply just say, leave as is, format, whatever. But if you want a little change here or there, you want to add some functionality or something like that to this, because by the way, this will build out anything JavaScript driven, anything front end stuff. It'll build it all out into the platform, on import. And then of course, I'm going to show you how to continue to evolve each page from there. So again, existing sites are simply just what you're importing. It's exactly what page structure you have and all of that. Now template is where you're going out and you're taking a template. And for example, we offer white label services, web design services, all these different things. Typically we start with a template and then we import it, which takes time. And then we customize it, which also takes time. Then we try to make it as easy as possible for the customer to be able to edit it, which takes time. And then we start customizing the content. Then we start adding the brand colors and put the logos in and all the other elements to make that website, for the client. We hand that over. And this is what all this AI is doing for you right here on this template selection, right? So you're going to select template, and for this demo, I'm doing template. I'm going to go ahead and grab this website. Like I say, Tailwind websites, Bootstrap, any framework website, HTML websites, all those work really, really well. The problem with WordPress and other sites like that, if they're coded really well, they'll come in excellent. But a lot of them, again, you're out there using these drag and drop builders and it just injects a bunch of just silliness, and it's difficult to plan for all that. The good thing is AI has been trained based on, our many imports on all the things that need to be done. So they do come in a lot better with AI. So I just went ahead and picked this website here. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing this URL. And so you're just going to grab everything up to the // and you copy that. And you're going to come in here and drop that into the domain section. Now I already know it's relative path. If you don't know, don't worry about selecting that. But I went ahead and did that. Next, I'm going to apply my logo, which is super cool, by the way, just being able to grab a logo. And I'm going to make this my next door contractors just for plumbing though. So what's cool about adding your logo is it's going to replace all the sections where the logo is supposed to go, replace with your logo, which is cool. And let me go ahead and grab my company name up here. I'm going to throw my company name here and then my company overview. So the more the merrier, obviously, the more information you provide with your tone and all that, it's going to be great. I'm not sure why I did Leander there. Honestly used AI to write this for me, so clearly didn't follow my instructions, OpenAI. At any rate, my prompts, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And so this can be however you want. You can put as much as you want in here as the initial prompt. And I guess I should make this a little bit bigger here so you can see it. But basically, you're really going to want to talk about what kind of website or the focus of this website is, right? So this is already set up to build out your entire website. I mean, you can put a very limited information here and just say, build me a website for a plumber. It's going to go out there and build you all the services page. It already knows all the things that it's supposed to have within there. And obviously, I can't spell here. I like to put in there, SEO information about the local area that we're focusing on. If this is a local website, I talk about creating all the content. It already knows it's going to do that, but again, just put that in there. So one of the things that is in progress, I'm just not too satisfied with all the AI image stuff yet, even though we have it on our AI post pilot, which does the blogging piece to it. That's live right now. As far as websites with stock images, I mean, I like to spend some time thinking about what images I want, which, by the way, when you edit the site, you can tell in the editing prompt, these are the images I want replaced in this section. Or you do it yourself within the builder, which is cool. But I put in here, so what happens is if we have what's called placeholder it, and there's different other sources like that, that the AI is trained to put that in to where the image is supposed to go. So then you can just go into the builder and change out the image for that section. In this case, I'm just telling my prompt to keep all the images for the theme. I'll go change them out. I like to visually see it. Plus, if I'm sending a demo to a client and I'm building the site out for them, I'm more likely going to choose a theme that is designed for the industry that they're going after. Even though it has all the interior pages, like this one has pages, booking, technician, testimonials, 404. It has a services page. Some of these themes just have all these different examples. And if you're familiar with that, you'll see. Again, I like to pick one that's geared for that, but you can pick any theme. Again, it'll swap them out and you can put placeholders for the images. For the homepage, I just said I include 10 to 12 different content blocks with a strong CTA. You can say whatever you want. We're going to do an example where we're going to add a calculator in the next step on editing and where we want that and things like that. And then I just want them to make sure, just want the AI to know that I want the logo in the footer because I noticed on the theme there was no logo in the footer. And then also create a blog feed section above the footer as well. And then just provide your contact information, hours, just any other additional information that you want to provide. And then I really kind of hone in on the services that I want, not necessarily all the services that we're going to have. And next, I just want to update my primary and secondary colors, right? And you can put as many color codes as you want in there. And obviously, AI is going to do your best to brand that site for you. And then all you have to do is hit submit. And much like our normal importer, this runs every minute. So once it gets picked up, it's going to start the import process. Now, what I've changed here is you can now access it. So if you had an import that wasn't working, it just keeps saying in the queue or, processing, you can now just come over here and delete it. You can actually go into it too. Sometimes, you can take a look at what was causing the issue and maybe even inspect your code. But this runs, again, like I said, it's starting up the process. It's actually kicking off now. You can tell it's starting to come in. The progress bar starts coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and just wait for this to finish. Now, depending on your rate limits and what tier you're on with Claude, we do have some weights built in so you're not hitting your token limits and all that great stuff. But basically, once it starts building out the site and doing all that, you could actually go in page by page, but we'll cover that in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and we'll jump right back in. Okay, we're a little over 50% now. Typically when it's over 50%, we've done the bulk of the, downloading all the assets. We've, set up the homepage. The homepage is accessible now. You can go in there and take a look at it. Depending on your tier, again, we have rate limits that are built in based on your tier. So the higher the tier, obviously the faster the site. Typically a 15-page website with a lot of content takes about 15-20 minutes, just depends. And I'll break down some of the costs too that I've benchmarked across the board, especially using very robust templates and, how we, send those over to train, Claude to build out your template for you. But to access it, you can't click on the thumbnail yet until the entire site's done, but you can click here or you can obviously click here and go through the settings section there or straight to the builder, but I'm going to go ahead and click here. So as you can see, customized with my logo, customized with my blue. Here with the orange wasn't customized, but that is my blue that I told the AI for. I don't want to get too much into the code level, but you'll see how pretty this is. Over here is just broken down with just the nice little assets, none of the junk that comes with it. And then all these root variables, just all the different color codes you can change that color that change this entire site, which is really cool. You can just go in here and drop in whatever colors you want for those particular descriptions and then hit apply, and that'll apply across your entire site. Or you can just ask AI to do it for you on the next iteration. So here, again, all the content's been changed here. One thing I've noticed right out of the gate, I don't like the navigation structure that was chosen here. I don't like the leaving of the pages. I want services dropped down there. So part of the editing is we're gonna do that. And again, you can edit all this stuff yourself. You can come in here and double click and change whatever you want and change up all the links. But we're gonna use our new little AI editing tool to do all the changes that we want. So slider looks great, it has all the content that I would, typically want there. 3 tiles here with the different types of services, a breakdown of, trust, conversion architecture about your business. And again, you can come back and forth and explain exactly what content blocks you want on more iterations here in just a second. But here also, these little animations, some of these animations, like for instance, this one's I'm sure if we went out to the preview URL, which we're going to set up in just a second, this is going to count up. Sometimes in the builder, some of these animations don't count up for you, but we'll show you how to edit those, or you'll go ahead and just ask AI to edit for you. Like this little spot here, this came out great. Here, I don't have a video, but maybe I find one, or maybe I have an AI video created for me, who knows. What's cool is about the form, obviously this is not the form that's associated with my site or our system. You need to replace it with one of our data forms. What's cool is it already installed it for you. So you can just go here and find that little div around there that says data forms, just like that, and click on it. And then you can click over here on settings and then just change out, whatever data form that you have built for, whatever you want to use. So that's cool, it already does that. And then it created, these tiles. That's cool, I like that. And, I'm not sure what I'll do with this, but maybe drop it, maybe customize it. Didn't ask for surrounding areas, but these are the surrounding areas around Austin. That's cool. And then testimonials, and then of course our blog feed widget, which basically pulls in your blog feeds and shows all your latest blog feeds. It even wraps it with the settings. You just click on it, and then now you can choose what blog you have and set that up, and then choose how many posts you want to show. And then there's a little CTA here, which I don't like the padding at the bottom here with white space. So that'll be definitely part of my edits. And then of course the logo that I asked in the footer came out great. All the links, everything is all set up. So all the services are here. See, that's the kind of drop down that I want for my services. So what I recommend, by the way, is wait until the whole site is built before you go page by page and make your edits and suggestions. So you'll start seeing all your pages show up. Like right now, the About Us page is all set. Matter of fact, why don't we do this? Let me go ahead and put on a preview domain. So I'm going to go out to the settings, which you can get to settings inside the actual funnel section, or you can click on that. So I'm going to come over here and just change the name. That was a pre-name that came in. Next door. Contractors, plumbing. And I am going to, which by the way, you can tell AI to use all of our tags. So if you're familiar with our tag system, you can, inside of that prompt, put in all the tags and tell them exactly what you want to use. So I am going to use our preview domain, nextdoor.securepreview.com. By the way, this is yours. Anyone can use that. You, of course, can use your white label domain. All of our domains, come with the system. You can do any unlimited subdomains. I like to put subdomains on here for the previews instead of looking in the builder. And so I'm just going to go out online and take a look. Mainly want to see it's popping up right? So all these numbers here are popping up. It's not popping up in the builder, but it pops up on live. So there's small little things like that that come out a little different on the builder than it does on live. And so I like to come in here and take a look, especially looking at all the different devices, even if you're going to come in here and click on, the mobile view or that view. Looks like it's missing the logo here for the mobile view and main view there. So we'll definitely be adding that to the list of things that we want AI to fix on the import. But overall, it looks pretty good. So now the About Us page is all set up. So I'm going to go to the About page. What's also cool is it builds out, again, the linking and the navigation, the global divs. If you're not familiar with the global blocks, basically what a global block means is if I change up this navigation here to obviously have all my pages under services and, maybe separate request quote as a button, whatever I decide to customize from here, this is a global block. This will change on every single page. So here's my About Us page, breaking down every single section, reusing different blocks. Obviously, I can switch out all these images for anything I want within here. So that's great. I like that page. So let's see the next page, services page. Yeah, so the services page is great. Kind of breaking down each one of those services. Now, again, like I should have said at the beginning, is I want to set up, even built this nice little section here. But what I want to essentially set up is services pages for each of these. And, I could have been more clear on my prompting, but no problem. Once it gets imported, now you can do whatever you want. You can set up all your edits, and we're going to go over that in just a second. Just wanted to take a look at this. I love doing it live and seeing these fresh sites. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the home page real quick. So to edit, again, I recommend waiting until the site is completely done, because if you start making changes to this home page, especially if I start messing with these global blocks, now that content that's coming in, even though it's going to inherit this global block here, I just like everything kind of being set first before you go in. So be a little patient until it's all done before you do this next step. But the next step here is I'm going to go ahead and click on this icon here. So right before the save, you'll see this little wand icon. When you click on it, or magic wand, this pops up. This is just your prompt. You can put anything you want in here. I'm going to pause the video and wait for this entire site to be done. I'm going to come back. But I like to do a plumbing calculator right below the banner that dynamically changes. Or I want to make sure all my images are set up properly, for my logo and placements that they have in different mobile and different things like that. In addition to that, I want the bottom section here fixed. I don't want this big white space here. I want this dropped down. So definitely include that in my request. But basically just click here, put in your prompt, and hit apply AI changes. Now this is super important. Include original assets. This is only available if you build a site from a template or an existing website. Now you can go into our blank theme and you can literally, which we're going to do in part 2 of this video, you literally can walk in the blank theme, click on this little magic wand and say, build me a bootstrap website that is similar to this domain, that offers this types of services, and this is what I want on the homepage, and I want all these things, and whatever you want, and hit apply AI changes, and it'll build out that homepage for you. And then you clone that homepage and name it whatever page you want for the interior page, and you do the wand again and say, okay, now I'm working on my about page, or I'm working on my services page, or whatever, and build it out. So you can build from scratch. I like building obviously from templates, just because a lot of them are higher end, and to prompt it, continue to prompt it to get it to where you want is awesome. But it's by no means going to get you to this starting point this quick, because now we can customize and have a lot of fun. But what this included original asset means is that when we downloaded this entire site, and all the content blocks and the sections within the site, and all these themes have all these different little content blocks that are designed for different placeholders. Well, we store those. And so when you come through and make a change to your website using the AI site pilot editing option, you check this off, this is going to bring all that original stuff with you. Now, what I highly suggest is if you don't need all the additional stuff, you're not trying to create something that's can't follow one of the templates you already have, don't check that off, because you're bringing a lot of extra tokens with you. Because obviously we're including all those for AI to choose what is the most appropriate block for you. But it's really cool. I love it. So yeah, you just hit apply changes, and we'll do that in just a second. Like I said, I want to build a little calculator, and then we'll go and jump into a blank theme and go through that and show you that. But it can't get any easier than this within here. So I'll pause this video and wait to go through. And like I said, the image side of it, there's a couple things you can do on the editing side. Now, again, I'm working in to where I'll bring AI images in, but I just don't like them. They're not personalized enough for the client. I like getting stock images and then bringing them in. So you would load up all your stock images, and you would obviously come in here and do what you need to do to put them in the spots. But you can also load them up and then tell AI which sections you want those images to go to. If you don't want to have to go in and, change out an image just like that, not that it's hard, but it's kind of cool to be able to give all the placeholders. It's kind of like writing up a project task for a designer. This is the same kind of stuff. Client gives you the edits, you just kind of go through and, oh, wow. Okay. So I'm going to pause this video and I'll be back in just a moment. All right. So I just finished up. So I took about 15 minutes here to get all done and ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here and just kind of play around, look at some of these pages here. Some of the pages I didn't take a look at were, I built out the privacy policy. Let me take a look at that and see what that looks like. So again, I could very, specifically put in exactly what pages I want, and, obviously prompt beforehand, but I do like to see what's being built here. Nice. So terms of service, let me look at this request quote, see how that came out. Yeah, looks pretty good. I like it. Like how you used that. Awesome. Pretty cool. Love it. Yeah, so I built all these pages out. And again, I could have said, build me a 30-page website, a 100-page website, whatever, with all the different services and everything else. And you can see it just created one service page with all the services in there. So of course I would go and prompt and do everything else that I want to build out individual pages for these, and then go page by page and have this linked up if I wanted to, right? But this is pretty good. So let me go back to the home page. And so what I want to do is I want to throw in, so I have a prompt here. Basically, I want to create a dynamic calculator that, gives a quote for the services that are being offered. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to change the pages. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in my prompt here. So below the banner hero, create a content block using the website code structure that provides an instant estimate calculator for plumbing services. Make it dynamic as you change the field inputs and outputs, updates. Make sure it's designed with, a modern field. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit apply changes here. And that'll refresh for you. And it'll basically start prompting. Now this is pretty quick. This is a lot faster. So this is going to go through because it's not downloading the assets. It's already in the stage where Claude is building out based on all those prompts. Now I could have put in, selected to use all the assets from the site. But I want to see what it's going to do. I want to see how it's going to leverage the existing structure of this site to build that out. And so we're just going to wait here a couple minutes and we'll come back and we'll take a look at what the new homepage looks like. Okay, that's done. So now let's take a look at what was created. So this is the section that was created based on that prompt. Ooh, I like that. That's pretty cool. Drop down for different services. Now nothing's changing in here, obviously, because this is being affected by the builder. So I'm just going to go out even service area here. I don't know if I like that. Different pricing for that, but of course I'll reprompt it however I want. So let me go back out to the main site. And of course I could prompt it to change whatever I want based on my pricing, obviously for my services. Oh, that's cool. I like it. Everything changes. So beautiful. Schedule service. Let me see where that takes me. Right into request quote. I mean, come on. I don't know. I've used all these website building tools with AI. I don't know what else to tell you. That's pretty freaking awesome within here. I like it. So that's cool. I'm going to do one more real quick because this is pretty fun. So I'm going to drop this additional prompt in that I was doing while I was waiting. So I'm just changing up the navigation. I'm asking to create a drop down for services with all my services, remove the pages tab, move contact next to services, add the blog tab, and then request estimate. Actually, I'm going to remove contact tab, actually. I mean, this is just a demo, but now I'm looking at this. Maybe I have a plumbing client that this could be for. Okay. Add blog. Okay. And I'm just going to apply changes and we'll come back for that change. And then we'll jump into the blank theme and we'll add in, additional starting from scratch. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right. I'm back. As you can see, the navigation has been changed to what I want with all my different services. And of course, I would need to go through and clone a page, edit, and say, hey, I want to build this page out for this particular service. Now, of course, I could have changed my navigation myself, really quickly. So I would suggest when you do changes, do all the changes, because you can, from top to bottom, I was just, kind of going through here. You can go and provide all of those changes at once. And really, depending on your tier with Claude, when this is processing, you can go into another page and process another one. This is different than actually importing the site. As soon as you hit this and hit apply changes, it starts doing the changes, right away. So again, depending on your tier, you may be able to get away with it. Now we have a bunch of weights built into it, if you're getting that rate limit error and everything else. So we do have a lot of stuff built in. And I am going to come out with a rotator for multiple API keys. So you can put as many API keys as you want to really scale this to infinite levels. But one thing I don't normally get too impressed with a lot of things out here, but I'll tell you what I am super impressed with. And this is just simple, but I supplied my logo, and of course the only logo I supplied was the one that was, had the colors. So this was applied, the CSS over here was applied to this section, which this ID, the style to invert the logo to the white version. Super cool. Not normally impressed with a lot of things, but super impressed with this. All right, cool. So let's jump out and actually build one from scratch. So no matter what, whether you're importing or you're starting with one of our themes, or starting with a blank theme. So if you come over here and create a new funnel, you could actually build out. So this is just like importing as is, right? So when you come over here and you select existing site, if you were to grab a theme and put it in here and import it, it's going to import it just like we do with our global themes, right? If you were to choose this theme here, all the 10 pages inside of it are just sample pages. They're not built out for anything. You got to go customize them. However, you can customize them with the AI editing option inside the builder. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and do the blank import and just build something from scratch. Build out. If you choose like the bootstrap theme here, it already has all the bootstraps. So you're going to obviously want to prompt AI, the AI prompt section that, you're on the bootstrap theme. I'm actually going to tell it that I want a bootstrap theme, but you can do Tailwind, any other, or just straight custom, whatever you want. So when you set one up from the blank theme and go into it, it's blank, obviously, right? Because there's nothing in here. And so I am going to prompt to build a bootstrap site I already had my prompt ready while I was waiting. I went ahead and built out a prompt, so we're going to go over that. But I'm just going to go ahead and click on the little wand icon here, and I'm going to drop my prompt in. So a few things about this. When you're building something from scratch and you're going to use a framework like Bootstrap or Tailwind or some of these other ones that are out there, and look, I can't even spell my own company name. It's embarrassing. So make sure that you mention CDN. Now we do have a lot of prompts in there, but we're not downloading any assets. None of these assets exist. We're not sending any assets over to AI to take a look at and analyze. We're all going from scratch. Now you can be very limited. I mean, you can literally just say, build me a landscaping website with the Tailwind CDN and hit apply changes. And that will build out, kind of bare bones, what you've been seeing out there with everyone messing with all these, website tools and then constantly prompting to get it to where it's at. But if you give it a decent prompt, you're going to get a decent outcome from it. And so in this case, I'm basically just providing my logo. I want to do a Bootstrap. I'm using the CDN, make sure we're grabbing all the CSS and JavaScript files. I'm more technical, so I'm saying a lot of technical stuff. You can obviously just go into, ChatGPT and say, build me a prompt. Imagine that you're telling AI to build you a website from a blank website builder. Now, one of the key components I would say is a lot of people that import sites that have AOS animations or some of these other animations, not, built-in Bootstrap animations or, mass majority of them, but, WoW animations, those types of things. But oftentimes AOS animations, they don't render well inside the builder. And so you have, just blank spots inside the builder. And even though if you go out to your live site, it looks great. So I do, on a technical level, do mention that. I just put, this is a custom website builder. We're building this into, make sure any of your JavaScript or animations play nicely with the builder. We have prompts back there that pick up that kind of language and stuff like that. But, if you just obviously add it to your prompt, you have a higher success rate of some of these animations and things. And if you don't want any animations, great. Don't even mention it. And obviously AI won't create it. But in this case, I'm putting in and just saying, I want you to go out to user. Wow, I typed too fast while I was waiting here. Use ligna.io. This is actually going to go out and pull from the domains you put in here and leverage that as inspiration for what's being created. Just mention about the navigation. I want services, all the services up to 10 pages. Make sure the navigation is robust with drop downs. I want a hero full width with the 50/50 CTA form for a free demo. Make sure there's at least 10 content blocks on the homepage. For all icons, use Font Awesome version 6 free CDN, but you can use any that are out there. I mean, obviously you can put whatever you want in here and say whatever you want. I put in here to create an ROI calculator. Of course, whatever the output happens, you can go in and, obviously edit from there. I put my colors, my primary and secondary. I obviously can put as many colors as I want in here, but I do mention in here to pull out the root. Where did I put it in? I thought I wrote that for CSS. I thought I put it in somewhere in here. For root variables. I don't know, somewhere in here. Oh yeah, right here. Make sure to include root variables for CSS to make changing colors easy throughout. All that is basically what I was showing you earlier. You can just click on the tab section and you have all your color codes for the whole theme. You can just drop your color codes in and hit apply, and it'll update the whole theme with with whatever colors you put in there. But again, you can also list your colors here and it'll use that color scheme for it. So again, you could use a starting place here. Obviously use ChatGPT or any other AI tool to write your prompt for you, and then just hit apply AI changes. And this automatically starts the process. It's already on Claude, ready to go. There's no assets that need to be downloaded. There's none of that stuff. So it's just throwing your prompt out there, and our system is built in to where all this response will come back into our platform and build it all out for you. So we'll just pause the video here and we'll come back and see what was created. All right, I'm back. Not too shabby, I have to admit. Again, looks like those simple, a little bit more than simple, starting from scratch. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's kind of cool. Of course, these are all just placeholders. I can, throw my ugly mug on or whatever I want to do, right? Throughout. But so far, not too bad. And put my blog system in here. That's cool. There's actually is an app. I'll tell you about that later. Not too bad. Obviously, I would prompt the heck out of this to get it to exactly the way I want. Nice little animations. Those look good. Let me look at the code level here. I mean, beautiful. Root variables, just all nice little structured code. All my code here. Awesome. So what I would do from here is I would then create another page, right? So my drop down for CRM, marketing automation. I mean, it picked up all my stuff from my current website, right? Let me put a domain on here because I do want to check just to make sure that calculator works. Let me go over here, drop that in there, go back out, and let's take a look. All right, let's say monthly revenue is 100,000. Do 5%. And 25,000. Not bad. This is automatically doing it on a button that is unnecessary. So obviously we would prompt it to fix that to what we want. But pretty cool. I mean, I would want to scroll to the top. I would probably want a little more design on the navigation. Obviously do something with the background. But I can do all that within the builder. This is live, any changes I make. Obviously this form right here is not the form within our system. So I would hit that and then drop down and grab whatever form I want. Obviously not that one, but kind of get the point of what form you can put in there. So this is pretty sweet. Of course, none of the pages are built out, so I'd click on new page. I would clone from the home page, name my new page CRM or whatever, and then I would prompt it again. I would probably give it my CRM page and, kind of go down that path, or, competitors page or somebody else that, on a model. And while it's doing that, I would go through here and fix all my images, add my images or whatever, to this. So this is pretty sweet, I do have to admit. So I'm going to end that there. It's pretty simple. Like I said, depending on your account, you'll see this access here. Just click on settings, add your API key. That'll switch your importer to AI driven. Template is starting with a template that you're going to build out the entire website with. If you get one of these big time robust templates that are out there, which are super awesome, obviously it's going to cost a little bit more with your tokens. Smaller sites, you're not going to be as much, obviously, but it's going to build out your entire site. If you just want to import the template and just have the pages that are imported there and not have to go through, have everything built for you, out of the gate, do existing site. That's for importing your site or importing a theme that you want to just start with. And then you can customize page by page on that aspect of it. So, and that's it. I mean, it's super simple. I will leave this at this point with a little nugget. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. I am rolling this out next. If I can pull it up. Apologies. So this is pretty cool. So this is going to be an embeddable widget, obviously a phone number with any of our VoIP lines, but this is the other AI part where it's AI inbound calling agent that you can apply to your website. Obviously you'll have a phone number that you can call as well. It's a VoIP line. This does live transfers, all sorts of cool stuff. Now, before I push this button, I do want to have to say this is on the lowest model settings. Zero real training on anything, especially tone or any of that stuff. Just want to kind of get you an idea of what's to come. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can get this video when it comes out. Obviously, it's a bring your own key as well for all of this. So go ahead and push this.
Hi, this is Ashley with Ligna. How can I help you today?
Hey, Ashley, I'd like to schedule a demo, please.
Sure thing. Let's get that set up. Can I get your first name?
Yeah, first name is John.
Great, John. What's your last name?
Last name is Aguilar.
Thanks, John. What's the best email to reach you at?
Email is jon@ligna.io.
Let me confirm that email. jon@ligna.io. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. And what's the best phone number to reach you at?
Phone number is 512-888-7200.
Here are some available times for a demo in Central Time. Today at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Which time works best for you?
Let's grab that 2 p.m. spot.
You're all set for a demo today at 2 p.m. shortly.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Have a great day.
You too. Talk soon.
Yeah, obviously with, the more advanced models and, training the model with the tone that I want and obviously the conversation that I want, it's obviously going to be much better than that. But super cool. Obviously, it, book that meeting. It shows up in the CRM, send me a notification invite, all that cool stuff. If I would ask for a live transfer agent, it round robins as many phone lines as you want to put in there until someone answers. So a lot of great stuff coming with the AI components to it. And, with this AI builder, it's taken our importer to a whole new level, and then obviously being able to customize and build from that. So that's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comments, and look forward to reading all those and you guys getting in here and starting to play around with this. So appreciate you, and have a good night. Appreciate it.